Here now with your Friday night 10 News Plus.
Well, this is 10 News Plus tonight. As millions of Aussies struggle to earn a crust, the community heroes bringing food to the table as we reveal just how much good food is going to waste.
An exploding problem, literally. We put the spotlight on lithium-ion batteries. Should they be banned on planes? Hear from an expert who says they've got the potential to bring down an aircraft.
With Britain on edge over knife crime, an Aussie dad has arrived with a solution. He's taken Jack's Law all the way to Westminster.
The $1 trillion man, Elon Musk, is already the world's richest person. Now he's got a new pay deal that's larger than all but 20 countries' annual economies.
Well, thanks for being with us. We can't all be Elon Musk, unfortunately. Rising rent, soaring energy costs and interest rates locked in place. It's no wonder many Aussie families are struggling to keep food on the table.
But as cost of living pressures bite, a small but passionate community is stepping in to help keep the shelves stocked. Sammy Butler has the story.
I got a big one. Did you want a bag? Can I put this one on the top shelf?
Yep, sure.
In a quiet cul-de-sac in Melbourne's southeast, it's all hands on deck to keep the pantry stocked to the brim.
Well, we set it up as a community venue, so it's something that anybody in the community can use, with the idea of give what you can and take what you can use.
Everyone should get to have food and not be starving.
I think it's a great resource and a saviour for some people.
Why do we do it, Elliot?
Because Sharon is Kelly.
Naomi Walsh set up the community cupboard outside her home in 2016. Nearly a decade on, she now has about a dozen dedicated volunteers who collect and drop off food donations every day.
We got into it basically because I didn't want to see stuff go to waste. You know, so it's great if it gets to people that are finding it really hard and it really helps them out. I'm delighted about that.
I think it's good for the community to have a resource. There's quite a few people doing it tough. A few people sleeping rough around, and so, you know, being able to come and just collect some, you know, something nutritious was good.
Hi Harry, we're just here to pick up the bread. Thanks. Hope you had a good day.
Local bakeries have jumped on board to supply leftover loaves of bread, buns and biscuits that would otherwise go to waste.
Thank you. Every single day, so when we finish the shop, yeah, they come and collect it.
They have a big, huge fridges at the back. It's like a freezer. So we can leave the rest for the next day to sell. But he said, no. We do it fresh every day, and whatever is left, it's for the charity. I'm so happy to do that. This is really nice about them. I really love
it. We've just had a bakery delivery, so there's lots of bread. But other times people donate all sorts of things. They might be moving and they empty out their pantry and they've got unused excess items there and they just fill them up and they go very quickly. Be a couple of times a day that gets filled and emptied.
The pop-up pantry became so popular, Naomi expanded her setup. There's now a section for free plants, kids' toys and a street library.
Do you come out here sometimes and there's just dozens of, you know, new books you didn't see the day before?
Yeah, there is. If I'm going away on a holiday, I come here for my reading material. I don't need to go anywhere else.
Visitors to the pantry come from all walks of life, but in recent months, Naomi and her volunteers have noticed a surge in the number of people in need.
Huge demand. Yes, definitely has picked up because, say, there's queues waiting now and never used to be, say, a year ago. Rent is huge, also mortgage is huge. A lot of people have lost their jobs. Just everything in general, food, petrol, just everything. Living costs have just gone through the roof.
I come probably once or twice a week. Sometimes I put some stuff in if I've got stuff that I don't need. But mostly it's to help myself out because I've been unemployed for 18 months, retrenched and doing it a bit tough. We live in a time where people have to have 2 wages, and when you've got no wages coming in, or 1 wage, it's tough. So things like this and others like it, very valuable. It's another $5 I don't have to find that I can use to pay my electricity bills or whatever, you know, so every little bit helps.
Australia produces enough food to feed everyone in the country 3 times over. Yet more and more families are relying on community initiatives like pop-up pantries to help them keep food on the table as the cost of living bites.
I don't think we've seen anything like this since the height of the pandemic, to be honest. We've got 3.5 million households across Australia now reliably relying on food relief. There's 1 in 5 households on over $91,000 a year that are now fronting up looking for food aid.
Charities such as Food Bank are struggling to meet demand, with donations dropping by 22% in the past 2 years. Earlier this week, its CEO called on the federal government to adopt a national food donation tax incentive to make it easier for farmers and growers to donate surplus produce. While some Aussies go without, enough food to fill the MCG 9 times over is being thrown away.
If the government were able to double the food relief or the tax incentive for donating food for food relief, it suddenly opens up over 7 billion tonnes. So that's 7 billion tonnes of perfectly edible food that we can redirect to Australian families.
For now, communities like this one are stepping in to help fill the void and hungry tummies.
Everyone deserves food everywhere and every time.
What's the lesson that it's teaching the next generation?
Kindness, sharing, and when you've got excess and plenty anyway, why not give it so somebody else can benefit from it? I think it should be in every street. That's how I see it. Even if it is people putting out a bucket of lemons out the front and saying, please take them, you know, if that's more widespread, I think it just creates such a beautiful atmosphere.
Beautiful atmosphere and such truly beautiful people.
Aren't they just?
What excellent humans. To a terrible story now, I'm afraid, because an awful family tragedy in central Queensland has once again put a focus on lithium-ion batteries.
Detectives suspect that an e-scooter battery may have caused a rapidly spreading fire that killed a man and 3 children. A warning for Indigenous viewers. This report includes the names and images of people who have died. We're using them with the permission of their family.
Flowers and teddy bears mark the site of Emerald's horror house fire that claimed 4 lives, including 5-month-old Desmond and his 20-month-old sister Madison.
It's just devastating, honestly.
It's hit the community pretty hard.
Neighbours reported hearing a loud explosion before the flames took hold. Police are investigating whether an e-scooter battery was to blame.
With any fire in a house, certain objects, batteries and canisters can cause those explosions.
From e-scooters to e-bikes, phones, laptops and power tools, lithium-ion batteries are everywhere. And firefighters in New South Wales say they have become one of the state's fastest growing fire risks.
Out of all the fires we're seeing with batteries, most of them are coming from e-bike and e-scooters.
Since the start of the year, there have been more than 270 lithium battery-related fires in New South Wales alone. At Melbourne Airport yesterday, a man's clothes caught fire after a lithium power bank ignited in his pocket. Staff threw the flaming device to the ground and rushed the man to a shower, but he was left with burns to his fingers and legs. 150 people evacuated from the International Qantas Business Lounge. Just last month, panic broke out on board an Air China flight to South Korea. When a power bank caught fire in an overhead locker, the plane forced to make an emergency landing. While in July, a lithium-ion battery was also believed to be behind this scare, smoke billowing from a locker on board a Virgin flight from Sydney to Hobart.
Everyone is carrying these batteries now, and the airlines do ask you when you're checking in, like, have you got these batteries and are they in your carry-on luggage? And that's because they can at least access them in the event that there is a failure. If they fail in your luggage, they're not going to be able to do anything about it, and that could be potentially catastrophic.
After a string of similar incidents globally, some airlines, including Emirates, are introducing new rules. Passengers can still carry power banks on board, but they can't use them and they must keep them close, not in the overhead locker. Australia's airlines are considering the same, but should we go one step further?
I definitely think that perhaps these will be banned in the future, and again that comes to simply because not all power banks are made the same. So we simply can't take the risk that something may go catastrophically wrong with them. So I can definitely imagine that the Australian government may effectively ban these products.
So with an increasing reliance on lithium-ion batteries these days, what needs to be done to keep people safe, especially in the air? Well, Dr. Sonia Brown is an expert in aerospace design from University of New South Wales and also an expert on rechargeable batteries. Great to have you with us, Sonia. I guess the basic question is there any chance that a fire involving a lithium-ion battery could bring down a plane?
It depends on how fast the containment is. If a lithium-ion battery caught fire on an aircraft and it was contained quickly, then it wouldn't bring down an aircraft. However, if a lithium-ion battery caught fire and it was not contained within a reasonable period and therefore the fire was spreading, then there is a chance that it could bring down an aircraft.
Well, Sonia, we've seen Emirates, Singapore Airlines, they've actually banned the use of power packs from their flights. Should there just be a blanket ban?
I think we've got to be careful about carrying versus using these devices on aircraft. So we can reduce the risk a lot, like some airlines have already done, by actually stopping them being used. It's not stopping them being carried, so you could still take your power bank with you, but you couldn't necessarily charge anything from it or charge that device on the aircraft. And that does increase safety a lot, because often the problem starts when it could be that they're damaged or they're overheated or overcharged. And overheating and overcharging is a lot more common during active use.
So seeing people can currently take them on board planes, what's your advice on how to handle a lithium-ion battery safely?
If I was taking my lithium-ion power bank on an aircraft, which I do, I would be, at this stage, keeping it in my seat pocket, because you don't know what could happen, and I definitely would not be charging either it or charging from it on an aircraft. And I feel like that's the safest way to be at this time.
Dr. Sonia, what actually causes these lithium-ion batteries to catch fire in the first place?
So lithium-ion batteries are basically made including lots of reactive and flammable materials, and we need that because that's what stores and produces that energy. So we need the energy to charge our other devices. So lithium and the electrolytes are both highly flammable. So in their normal casing, that's technically fine. But if there's some kind of damage or your batteries become swollen or it's overcharged or overheated, basically these elements can be exposed to other things and then start reacting, and that can cause something like a thermal runaway and come out of control and then get to the temperatures where fire could happen.
For nervous flyers, I think you're just adding a little bit to the whole thing. A key question, of course, is that there's all kinds of these batteries around, including some pretty cheap knockoffs which are around. Should that be a factor when people are deciding whether they're going to buy one, let alone take one on a plane?
Look, I think one of the key reasons why we've seen this increase, and we have seen, I think, at least 5 incidents, maybe more, in aviation just this year, is because of the rapid increase in these. And the cost has come down, and so there are a lot of cheaper products out there. We don't necessarily know the quality of all of them, so definitely buying the best quality product you can, particularly for those of us in Australia, you know, ones that meet Australian standards is recommended. But these devices are going to come in from all over the world. We can't actually really control that quality because these devices are so widespread.
Yeah, and so when you get on the plane, you've got to worry about not only your own device, but what everyone else has carried on the plane with them. Dr. Sonia Brown, fascinating chat. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
It's funny you say that, Hugh. I have one of those packs with me right now in my bag because I'm going on a plane tonight.
You're the problem, Georgie.
Not right
and
now.
you're making me nervous.
Not right now.
It is making me nervous.
All right, here's what else is happening right now too. Sad news, we've got 3 tradies at tonight's stable after being rushed to hospital with critical injuries when they were hit by a car outside a restaurant in Sydney's west. The men in their 20s and 30s were sent flying when a Toyota Corolla mounted the curb after colliding with another vehicle. Both drivers were taken for questioning and testing.
A former major bank employee has been charged over an alleged $200 million fraud scheme. Police stormed a Western Sydney home and arrested the 36-year-old man, claiming he used his position at the NAB to deliver dodgy loans using stolen information.
There have been some dramatic scenes at Brisbane Airport after a fire broke out on a Virgin flight just after it landed from Darwin. The brakes on the Boeing 737 caught alight, with fireys quickly springing into action. None of the 180 passengers and crew on board were injured.
Meanwhile, travel in the US is falling into chaos, with thousands of flights cancelled due to the government shutdown. Air traffic controllers are increasingly staying at home because they're not being paid. Authorities are trying to limit the cancellations to 1 flight in 10.
And there's been a scare in the White House after a man collapsed while standing beside US President Donald Trump. The pharma company executive was there for an obesity drug announcement. The event was temporarily halted, the president later assuring everyone the executive was fine.
Just ahead on 10 News Plus, another big shock in Washington. The Democrats' Queen of Congress is calling it quits.
And can't pretend things are good. The pressure builds on Liberal leader Susan Lee. Now, Susan Lee's hold on the leadership of the Liberal Party faces a crucial test next week. The party's MPs and senators have been called in for a special meeting on Wednesday to decide the future of the net zero policy.
Now, reducing global emissions to net zero by 2050 is, of course, central to the Paris Agreement to try to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees. But the issue is now openly a proxy for rumblings about Susan Lee's leadership as the coalition's polling numbers sink to new lows.
The Liberal Party has been here before.
Have you backed away from the emissions targets to save your job?
Look, thank you. We've had some doing great work on energy.
Sharks circling.
This is my leader.
There you go.
And I'm ambitious for him.
Yeah, good on you. Thanks, ScoMo.
Friendships fraying.
Scott has always had a reputation for telling lies.
Always it's combustible when high political posturing mixes with low polling.
We have lost 30 news polls in a row. It is clear that the people have made up their mind about Mr Abbott's leadership.
Every Liberal leadership change since 2009 has had climate policy at its core.
And next week they're going to debate whether they believe in climate change again.
And so today, as sure as the moon rises...
I can't pretend things are good. We've had a dire news poll result, a primary vote of just 24%. Things are not travelling well. I do have to say, really honestly, I do think Susan is losing support.
Senator Henderson, who was dropped from the Liberal front bench in the post-election reshuffle, wants the Liberals to join the Nationals in dumping net zero when the party decides its position next week.
Is Susan Lee's leadership of the party done?
Look, it's a very difficult time for the Liberal Party.
Senator Henderson says she is just stating the obvious about the leader.
Right.
Faced with such public disloyalty, the leader bats on.
I'm not going to comment on commentary. You wouldn't expect me to. I value every single member of my team, including the good senator that you've just mentioned.
But do they value her?
Are you planning to knife her as leader?
No, I think that's a provocative question.
Must be a slow news day on a Friday morning.
Susan Lee's supporters among Liberal moderates are saying the traditional things.
So Susan Lee still has your support?
She absolutely does have my support.
There's also the traditional position of sitting on the fence.
I'm really sorry, I have appointments. You support your leader? Thank you, thank you.
And the man who narrowly lost to Susan Lee in the last leadership contest is taking the most traditional position of all.
I think Susan is well established as leader and will be with us through the next election.
Are you planning to roll her?
Absolutely not.
Whatever happens, the Liberal Party decision on Wednesday could decide both the fate of the coalition and Susan Lee's future.
Everyone is agreed that we must make energy affordability the #1 priority. Everyone is united that we must do something on the emissions reduction side.
Look, there's no problem with argument over policy here. We've got to have it and we've got to sort it out and go to the public with one view.
And we're going to have a good meeting next week. We'll settle the issue of net zero and then we can get back to attacking this terrible Labor government who are pushing up people's electricity bills.
And our network political editor, Ashley Raper, joins us now at the desk. Ashley, is there really going to be a move on Susan Lee next week?
No, is the short answer. I can give you a longer answer too. Look, there has been talk about Susan Lee's leadership all week, but the fact is that a leadership challenge is not imminent, and Sarah Henderson's comments today hasn't changed that. Sure, it set the cat amongst the pigeons, but it hasn't set off the phones like the numbers are being done. There are a few things at play. There is a personal element to it. Sarah Henderson was dumped from the front bench under Susan Lee's leadership, and because of that, she's clearly unwilling to be a good soldier under Susan Lee. Senator Henderson is more than happy to be the front person for the right-wing agitation against Susan Lee. She also came out publicly this week saying net zero should be scrapped. It's damaging to Susan Lee. It's destabilising and undermining. But if Sarah Henderson does it, those with leadership ambitions in the right faction can just sit back, not be the public face of it. So what she's doing serves them well. This is a female criticising Susan Lee, not a man trying to tear down the party's first female federal leader. That would be a bad look for, say, Angus Taylor, Andrew Hastie, who are potential leadership contenders. So what happened today upped the ante, but it doesn't really fundamentally change anything.
If we shift, though, our attention to next week, next Wednesday, this net zero meeting, is the coalition really going to ditch this?
Look, so the Liberals are coming to their position on Wednesday and it's looking like they will ditch net zero. Politically, that makes sense, keeps the coalition together because it'll align the Liberals with the Nationals. What Susan Lee's detractors want as well, the right wing of the party. But there is a bigger picture here too. The point of net zero by 2050 is to ensure that global warming does not go above 1.5 degrees. That's what it says in the Paris Climate Agreement, and it's what Australia signed up to as part of that agreement. So even this week, when the Nationals ditched net zero, they said they still want to stick with Australia's international obligations. And the question is, how? So then how do the Liberals prosecute that case to the electorate if they ditch net zero, especially in those seats we know want action on climate change and it's guided votes in those places in the past? And without those seats that do want action on climate change, it's very hard to see a pathway back for the coalition to government anytime soon.
Big day on Wednesday, big decisions.
Wow.
Thanks, Ash. Now, in America, they don't mind a bit of age on their politicians, and one of the most seasoned, one of the most controversial, has just called it quits. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says at 85 she's decided not to contest next year's midterm elections. That will bring an end to her near 4-decade congressional career. She is a legend of the Democratic Party. She became the first female Speaker of the House and completed 8 years in that role.
With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
Well, famously, she and President Trump were hostile to each other, Pelosi tearing up his State of the Union speech back in 2020, and she also twice moved to impeach him.
Well, still to come after the break on 10 News Plus. How an Aussie is trying to combat knife crime in the UK. His mission to Westminster is next.
Now, after that recent mass stabbing rocked the UK, we brought you the story of a Queensland dad who was on his way to help. Well, now in London, Brett Beasley has taken his fight for tougher knife laws to the halls of Westminster.
Jack's Law, named in honour of his slain son, gives police the power to scan people for weapons. Our own officers have labelled it the missing piece Britain needs, and Brett is confident authorities will follow in Australia's footsteps.
32-year-old Anthony Williams from Peterborough has been remanded in custody after being charged with Saturday's Huntingdon train stabbings.
Been charged with 10 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of actual bodily harm, and 1 count of possession of a bladed article.
Now, Cambridgeshire Police are now investigating whether 3 knife-related incidents in Peterborough on Friday and Saturday are linked to Saturday evening's attack.
Nowhere in this country is safe.
It's a real crisis.
It does give you really bad anxiety. We are scared, I'm not going to lie. We are really scared.
It makes you worried about, like, your safety. Are you safe on the trains? No, you're not.
On the streets of London, days after a sickening mass stabbing on a train, there is a real sense of fear.
It's scary, you know. Everyone seems scared. Everyone's scared to walk around, and everyone's scared to go about their daily, activities.
As attention turns to what UK authorities can do to make the streets safer, Aussie father Brett Beasley has arrived with a solution he knows can help.
Hopefully, the powers of Jack's Law can fix that problem.
Jack's Law allows police to use metal detectors to scan people in public for knives in most Australian states and territories. Brett and his wife Belinda were behind the push after their son Jack was stabbed to death on the Gold Coast in 2019. 6 years on, his dad is in London to convince politicians and police to adopt Jack's Law. Brett, you met with the Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle. How did that go?
Look, he's very supportive. He obviously supports any new law that's out there to save lives, and that's what Jack's Law is all about.
He can't introduce any laws, but do you think he'll take it further?
I think he will. I think he will. He like I said, he was very keen to learn more about it. We spoke to some UK police officers at Buckingham Palace the other day. We told them who we were and what we're here for, and I tell you now, they were really, really interested. And they said, wow, geez, I hope that comes in. That'll be really good for us.
Britain does have a knife ban in place, but Queensland police, who are flying the Jack's Law flag in London with Brett, believe more needs to be done.
They have education, they have legislation around the sale of knives, but they are missing one thing, and that is law like Jack's Law.
The missing piece here in London is Jack's Law.
Reece, as a police officer, what do you make of the UK's knife crime crisis, and how does it compare to Australia?
It's a different level. I was looking online this morning, and there's 2 further stabbings here in London, which haven't made the news broadly in the last couple of days. So it's a real challenge for London to wrap their head around. And like I said, they're doing some great work, and they're looking at options, anything they can do. In fact, Sir Lindsay's words to us were very much that he's happy to look at anything that will save lives.
One of the main hesitations authorities there have is racial profiling.
There appears to be some trust issues in the UK with the police and the community, and it's just around their stop and search powers and allegations that they've been profiling racial individuals.
Those concerns were something police here in Australia also had to overcome, and they believe the Met Police can too. So, Brett, no firm promises yet, but are you confident or hopeful?
You've always got to stay pretty confident, don't you, and hopeful. These things take time, especially new laws and new legislation. They don't just happen overnight. So, I'd like to say, yes, I'm confident, but, time will tell.
And this is all in Jack's name. How much would this mean to him? I mean, this is such a personal fight for you guys.
This is a real good city because Jack actually, this was one of the cities that he wanted to come to on his bucket list when he was a bit older, with his girlfriend. I'd love to go to London and Europe and all that. And it's sad, it's really sad, really, that he's never going to get a chance to come here. And I'm proud to be here to fly his flag and hopefully make it happen for him, you know, and for our whole family.
It is sad, isn't it? But a great mission. Good luck to him.
Yeah, very much so.
Coming up after the break on 10 News Plus, the bad news keeps coming for that former prince. Now, the Americans want a word with Andrew. We'll tell you why.
Get $200 off this Hisense 55-inch TV, $311 off this Samsung front load washer, get $81 off this Philips air fryer, plus this Salt dishwasher $369. Doorbuster deals only at The Good Guys.
Having copped a royal whack from King Charles with the loss of his titles and being booted from his home, now the Americans want to have a chat with Andrew.
Now, the former prince has been summoned by Congress, which wants to dig into his friendship with the convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Royal correspondent Victoria Arbiter joins us from Melbourne. Thanks again for being with us, Victoria. This scandal plainly won't go away, but does Andrew actually have to turn up to face Congress?
Good evening to both of you. Well, in a word, no, he doesn't. As a British citizen living in the UK, this is an area where he is not compelled to give any evidence. The letter that was sent as a request. They really don't have any authority over Andrew. It wasn't a demand, it wasn't a subpoena, but voices are certainly growing ever louder, wanting Andrew to speak. It was 16 Democrats that signed this particular letter. Now, I think it would be far more likely to get his attention and potentially get him to speak if they were to travel to the UK. Andrew is absolutely not going to set foot in the US. They want him to take part in a transcribed interview. Unlikely to happen, but they have given him until November 20th to respond to their request.
What exactly are they trying to uncover, Victoria?
Well, really, they're trying to get a better understanding of what it was that Andrew witnessed, who he was involved with, and a deeper understanding of Jeffrey Epstein's activities and who he was conducting them with. It is interesting, though, that they keep going for Andrew. And yes, Andrew absolutely should be speaking up about what it was that he witnessed and indeed if he took part in anything. But what about all of the Americans and other international figures that were a part of Jeffrey Epstein's circle as well? I think that's where we're getting into a little bit of deep water because, yes, while it is imperative that Andrew shares what it is that he knows, and he'd probably do himself a favour because in the court of public opinion, people would appreciate him stepping forward. But this needs to be a far broader conversation. There were a lot more people involved in Epstein's circle, and it's time that we were talking about them as well.
Absolutely no doubt about that, including this mysterious former Prime Minister that Virginia Giuffre mentioned. That's the sex. What about the money? What about the pursuit of Andrew's mysterious sources of private wealth?
Well, of course, it was the money that got his former wife, Sarah Ferguson, in so much trouble because she simply couldn't control her spending. She kept racking up the debts and then having to call on less than salubrious characters to help her get out of debt. And I think that's partly why Andrew and Fergie found themselves in these horrendous circles, consorting with really some disreputable people. But yes, indeed, where was the money coming from? Andrew's pension from the Royal Navy will have been paltry in the grand scheme of things. It's possible that he had an inheritance from the late Queen Mother and indeed from his own parents, the late Queen Elizabeth II and his father, Prince Philip. But where else was this money coming from? And that's why senior parliamentary figures in the UK are calling for further investigation into Andrew, not just in his dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, but broader in terms of how was it that he was able to pay for Royal Lodge and where was that money coming from? Whether those investigations go ahead, well, that remains to be seen.
Victoria, Princess Anne touches down in Australia tomorrow. The timing of it all, can she provide a welcome distraction for the royals?
Well, I certainly think she'll be hoping so, just as William did in Brazil this week, where he was attending events surrounding the Earthshot Prize and, of course, at COP30 as well. Anne is coming here for a cause very close to her heart. She's going to be celebrating the centenary of the Royal Australian Corps of Signals. She has been affiliated with the Corps since 1977. It was formed in 1925, celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, and she's been involved for 48 of those years. So it really does speak to her commitment. And I think what Anne is going to want to do is make sure that she spends time with veterans. This is Remembrance Day weekend. There's going to be commemorations marking that, but spending time with their families and current serving members of the Corps. I think well over 100,000 Australians have served with the Corps since its inception. So a very special weekend for Anne. She's aged 75, coming to Australia for 4 days.
Big day for the signallers. Victoria Arbiter, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming up after the break on 10 News Plus, one university's plan to help fix Australia's great tradie shortage. That's next.
Liquid Capsule Ever. The everyday pain relief you love, now even smaller. Or when you need to get tough on pain, Neuromol's powerful combination of ibuprofen and paracetamol provides fast-acting, longer-lasting, more effective relief than paracetamol alone. Hit pain hard with Neuromol.
Who said you deserved a little treat? You did. McCafe. Matcha is here.
Now, as we know, we're in the middle of a housing crisis being made worse by a shortage of skilled tradies. So what's the fix? Well, the University of Canberra is proposing it become the Tradies University, offering fast-track degrees to those with TAFE diplomas who want to skill up a little. They say it could also save up to $12,000.
And one man cut out to tell us if this will work is Gavin Wright, a qualified shop fitter and joiner. Gavin, what do you make of this? Is a university degree the answer?
I think there's lots of moving parts. It's a step in the right direction, but I think where the rubber meets the road, I think you need to incentivise it for the apprentices. I think from the start, they don't get paid enough. And they're looking at their friends in IT and they're making a lot of money. And in the trade, you've got to be in the sun, you've got to work twice as hard for less money, and so it doesn't really stack up. So you need to influence the year 10 or the year 12 girl or boy sitting on the couch going, what am I going to do for my career? If you influence them, you're stepping towards solving the housing crisis.
So do you think that's the problem at the moment, is that people don't see enough in it for them?
Absolutely, absolutely. They're seeing their friends working in the IT or other industries, making more money, great money, at a younger age, and they're going, hey, and they're not seeing the apprentices through.
So then you look at the University of Canberra. Bill Shorten is the new Vice-Chancellor there, and you can see his fingerprints on this, a tradies university. Upskilling into a degree, would that be attractive?
I think not in the beginning. I think once you're in a trade and you want to upskill to become more valuable in the marketplace so you can earn more money and then move into management and so forth, I think that would future-proof your career, but you need to entice people to get into the trade, which they're not doing. That's not what we're seeing, anyway.
How bad is this crisis right now?
It's very bad. Very bad to find the right staff. 15 to 20 years ago, you put an ad in the paper and you get 60 responses. Same ad these days, you get 2 or 3 people calling. And they want a fortune, to work.
This is just to start as a tradie?
That's just to start.
And not an apprenticeship
That's
or
right.
whatever.
Trying to find an apprentice to help your business, which is a number of things. So you can't scale your business and you can't build a house.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because plainly the numbers show that people aren't going into them and then they're not staying with them. I just wonder whether this is going to make any material difference to that problem. What do you think?
I don't think it will. And they don't want to hear that, but I don't think it will.
This is a national platform, though. If there's people watching this who think, hang on a second, maybe I should consider this. There's a gap in the market. There's obviously demand here. What type of person should look at becoming a tradie?
Anyone that's creative, anyone that's good with their hands, maybe they don't like school, okay? The people that are misunderstood, anyone that wants to work outdoors, it's an extremely rewarding profession. And it's also healthy because you're not stuck behind a desk, okay? And it helps you find love quicker because who doesn't love a good tradie?
It's obviously working for you, I can tell. You're looking fit.
Also targeted, we're behind a desk.
Yeah. We won't get too much into your love life for proof of that last statement.
Thank you, Hugh.
But we appreciate you being with us today.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Georgie.
Thanks, Gavin.
Well, still to come after the break on 10 News Plus. How Elon Musk, no tradie he, how he could become the world's first trillionaire.
It never ceases to amaze me how much a dog can change someone's life.
eDoghouse UK, tonight.
On 10's Late News, a man who threw a sandwich at a federal agent learns his fate in court. Plus, a revolution is launched against robo-taxis after one killed a cat. Details at 10:40 on Channel 10 or stream us on the app.
Now, we all love a hard luck story, rags to riches vibe, but what about a richest to more richest story? Well, we may all be about to witness the world's first trillionaire, and for better or for worse, it's a very familiar face.
Now, Tesla shareholders have given Elon Musk a huge payday. What does it actually involve, though? Georgie, you've done the maths.
I have.
You may know him as the world's leading chainsaw enthusiast.
This is the chainsaw.
Or the guy who made this. You may know him better as Donald Trump's ex-BFF turned best frenemy.
A star is born. Elon. Come here, Elon.
We had one president who couldn't climb a flight of stairs, and another who was fist pumping after getting shot.
He said the most beautiful things about me, but I'm very disappointed in Elon. He had a bad spell, he had a bad period, he had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment, very stupid.
Or the billionaire who loves space but isn't Jeff Bezos.
Can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time?
You may even know him best, though, as the world's richest man and incredible mover. However you know him, know this. No one on Earth has ever been richer than Elon Musk. And for the tech giant, he intends to keep it that way. Today, Tesla shareholders are approving an $878 billion pay package over the next decade. Frankly, numbers were never really my thing, but even I know that if you add that to his current estimated $490 billion net worth, well, then that's more than $1 trillion. And $1 trillion is a lot of money. Not even Dr. Evil could conceive of it.
$1 million.
But what does $1 trillion even mean? How much is it? Well, good news, guys. I've got the abacus out and have done the girl maths, so you do not have to. Let us play. Who wants to be a trillionaire? Okay, so let's try to quantify this. $1 trillion is so big, it would take 31,546 years to count out loud, one by one. For perspective, it takes 11 days to count to 1 million, 32 years to count to 1 billion. On Earth, there are about 3 trillion trees, so if money did grow on them, Elon owns a third. There's about 1 trillion fish in the sea, so if you're single, a third of those are Elon Musk. If we all suddenly become trillionaires and wanted to spend everything, at a rate of $40 a second, it would take 792.5 years for our bank account to be empty. Get this, $1 trillion US bills would stretch more than 109,000 kilometres. Now, the Earth's diameter from pole to pole is 12,714. So that's a skyscraper nearly 8.5 times the height of the world. And just so we all know, to end world hunger by 2030, the UN World Food Programme suggests a $40 billion per year investment. So a fifth of Elon's wealth, meaning he would still retain 4/5 of his wealth.
That feels great to come down here and help the less fortunate, huh?
Oh, yeah. Nothing better than helping people.
Well, that's good news.
Like either superhero or supervillain. You have to choose one.
Never mind. Look, there's no doubt whatever you think of him, Elon Musk, history's richest person ever, soon to be trillionaire, is a genius. And geniuses can still be like us. I mean, who would be able to make dancing with humanoid robots on stage look cool? Who, I ask you? Who? Oh, wait a second.
Absolute proof that if you're a trillionaire, you do what you damn well please. Now, here's the thought. There are about 190 countries on the Earth.
Yes.
Only 19 of them have an economy every year that is more than what Muskie is going to win.
Their entire economy.
Entire economy. 174 countries in the world have less economy than Elon Musk. That's it. 10 years plus for this Friday. Have a great weekend.
Goodness me. Deal or no deal's next. Thanks for your company. I'm going to spend my whole night thinking about that. Good night.
Good night.